Once upon a time, there was a small village nestled deep in the heart of a dense forest. The village was home to a close-knit community of people who had lived there for generations, passing down their traditions and folklore from one generation to the next. As the sun set each day, the villagers would gather around the fire and share stories of their ancestors and the legends of the forest. One of the most terrifying legends was the tale of the haunted house on the outskirts of the village. The house had been abandoned for as long as anyone could remember, and its windows were boarded up, its roof sagging under the weight of years of neglect. It was said that strange things happened in the house at night, and that anyone who dared to venture inside would never return. Despite the warnings of the elders, a group of curious young villagers decided to explore the haunted house. They gathered at the edge of the forest, their hearts pounding with fear and excitement. As they made their way through the overgrown garden and up the creaky stairs, they felt a sense of unease settle over them. As they entered the house, they were struck by the musty smell of damp wood and rotting fabric. Cobwebs clung to the walls, and the floorboards groaned beneath their feet. They explored the dusty rooms, peering into the dark corners and searching for any signs of the supernatural. As they were about to leave, one of the villagers stumbled upon a hidden door. It creaked open, revealing a narrow staircase that led down into the depths of the house. With a sense of trepidation, the group descended into the darkness, their footsteps echoing eerily on the stone steps. As they reached the bottom, they found themselves in a dank, musty cellar. The air was thick with the scent of mold and decay, and the only light came from a small, flickering lantern. As they searched the room, they heard a strange noise coming from the darkness beyond. At first, it was just a faint scratching sound, like something scurrying across the floor. But as the noise grew louder, they realized that it was something much more sinister. It sounded like the scraping of claws against stone, and the villagers felt a chill run down their spines. Suddenly, a pair of glowing eyes appeared in the darkness, fixated on the group. The villagers froze, unable to move as the eyes slowly advanced towards them. They could hear the sound of heavy breathing and a low growling noise that filled the air. Just as the creature was about to pounce, the group heard a loud crash from above. The creature paused, its attention diverted, and the group seized the opportunity to flee. They scrambled up the stairs, their hearts pounding with fear as they burst out into the moonlit night. As they looked back at the house, they saw the silhouette of a massive creature framed in the window. It was a hulking, shadowy figure, with sharp claws and glowing eyes that seemed to follow them as they ran. The villagers never spoke of their experience again, but the legend of the haunted house grew even stronger. Over time, people whispered that the creature was a demon, summoned by an ancient curse that had been placed upon the house. They said that it prowled the forest at night, searching for unsuspecting victims to drag down into the depths of the haunted house. As the years passed, the village changed. New houses were built, and the old traditions slowly began to fade away. But the legend of the haunted house remained, a reminder of the darkness that lurked in the shadows of the forest. And to this day, the villagers still tell stories of the creature that roams the forest, waiting for its next victim to venture too deep into the woods. But there was one young girl in the village who was particularly fascinated by the legend of the haunted house. Her name was Emily, and she was always eager to hear the tales of the supernatural that the elders told by the fire. Despite her parents' warnings, Emily often wandered into the forest on her own, searching for clues that might lead her to the haunted house. She would follow the winding paths through the trees, listening for any sound that might hint at the presence of the creature that haunted her dreams. One day, as Emily was exploring the forest, she stumbled upon an old, rusted key. It was lying in the underbrush, as if it had been waiting for her to find it. Emily felt a thrill of excitement course through her veins as she picked up the key, wondering if it might be the key to the haunted house. That night, Emily snuck out of her house and made her way to the edge of the forest, clutching the key tightly in her hand. She could hear the sound of her own heartbeat in her ears as she approached the dark, looming shape of the haunted house. The door creaked open easily under the weight of the old key, and Emily stepped inside. The air was heavy with the scent of mold and decay, and she could feel the cold chill of the damp stone seeping into her bones. As she made her way through the abandoned rooms, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Just as Emily was about to turn back, she heard a strange noise coming from the cellar. It sounded like the scraping of claws against stone, and the low growling noise that the villagers had described so many years ago. Emily's heart was pounding with fear, but she felt a strange sense of curiosity drawing her towards the sound. As she descended the stairs, the air grew colder and the darkness thickened. She could hear the sound of heavy breathing and the rustling of movement coming from the shadows. And then she saw the glowing eyes, fixated on her in the darkness. Emily froze, unable to move as the creature advanced towards her. Its eyes were like fiery coals, and its claws were long and sharp. She could feel its hot breath on her skin, and she knew that she was trapped. But then, just as the creature was about to pounce, Emily heard a sound from above. It was a soft, tinkling melody, like the sound of a music box. The creature paused, distracted by the sound, and Emily seized the opportunity to flee. As she stumbled up the stairs, she heard the creature's angry growl echoing through the darkness. But she didn't stop until she had burst out into the moonlit night, the haunted house behind her. From that day on, Emily never forgot the terror of the haunted house. But she also never forgot the sweet sound of the music box that had saved her life. She often wondered who had played it, and what secrets lay hidden within the walls of the haunted house.